you need to set some boundaries, but you're struggling to set them, especially as a leader. In this video, this is an opportunity for you to ask me anything. As it relates to setting boundaries as a leader, I know how incredibly important it is for you to be able to set some boundaries. And I want to give you some insights for you to consider if this is something that you are struggling with as a woman in leadership, or perhaps as a man in leadership. I'm here to support you the way that I can. Feel free to learn from my over 20 years of experience in senior leadership roles to help you be able to set those boundaries that you need. Now, I'm going to wait for some Q&A and some questions to come in. This is a live video. And on Fridays on lives, I typically try to have question and answer so I can support you. So there's typically a point in time when the YouTube audience will join. Therefore, give me just a few moments so I can say hello to everyone. And we're going to talk about your questions as it relates to boundaries. If you are watching this portion of the video, you are more than likely watching the replay. Either you are someone that is just checking out my channel, or maybe you're one of my amazing subscribers. I'm glad that you're here. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below and I will give you some insight and be able to answer them for you. Now, I'm going to share with you personally what happened to me and why I was hesitant to set boundaries initially. And then I'm going to share with you what I had to do to reset boundaries. Because many times as leaders, we find ourselves in situations where we have to reset our boundaries. We know we need to set boundaries, and maybe we have not done the right thing to set our boundaries in the past, and we find ourselves in a situation where we have to reset. But we're trying to reset our boundaries in a way to where we're not causing people to think differently of us, or for people to be upset with how we're communicating, etc. I've been there. I've been in those situations, and I want to share with you that you can do it. You can reset those boundaries in a comfortable way to where you're still being protected and everybody else is too. Now, I want to say that typically, people struggle with setting boundaries for a couple of reasons. One of the main reasons that people struggle with boundaries, that I personally struggled, and I found that a lot of my clients I work with, and before I go into why people struggle, if you are a, excuse me, I've been a little under the weather the past couple of days, so I apologize for that. But if you are a woman in leadership and you are trying to navigate how to set boundaries, or maybe you're at a place in your career where you know you're going to be a lot more highly visible in your roles, and you're going to be in front of people are going to be watching you, you need to make sure you're communicating in a correct way, then contact me for a strategy session in the description below. But one of the reasons that a lot of my clients struggle with setting boundaries initially is because they're not taking care of themselves. You may be wondering, well, what does taking care of myself have to do with me setting boundaries? Well, let's talk about that briefly. And I want to say hello, welcome to those of you who are joining today. Let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you are joining from today. Where are you joining from in the big, beautiful world today? And have you ever struggled to set boundaries? Has it been a challenge for you? Or maybe you have a situation where you need to set boundaries professionally right now. Then this is an opportunity for you to ask me anything. This is a Q&A live. And if you are struggling with setting boundaries, then put it in the comments below. Let's talk about it. Let me give you something to work with this upcoming weekend so you can put yourself in a good position to have those boundaries set. Now, as I mentioned, many times people struggle with setting boundaries because they don't take care of themselves. So why am I saying that? Typically, if you're at a place where you are not taking care of yourself, that means there's something mentally that you are doing that is preventing you from being able to take care of yourself. Many times in the world of leadership, and I want to say hello to Yuke. Hello, how you doing today? Yuke says no, but Chicago. So I'm assuming you're from Chicago. Welcome. Let me know where you all are joining from in the big, beautiful world today, and what questions you have about setting boundaries. As I mentioned, you have to take care of yourself. And typically as leaders, we are the individuals that are going above and beyond to help other people on their journey with whatever challenges that they are dealing with. But a lot of times what happens as leaders? We get ourselves in a situation where we are giving, but we're not at the place where we are actually taking care of ourselves, which is the reason why I said people struggle with it. What I found that happened to me personally, and let me know in the comments below if you've ever experienced this. Sometimes I got to the point where I was worried about what other people would think of me. I don't know what they're going to say if I decide I can't go to this event. I don't know what they're going to say if I say I need to bypass on this project. What are they going to say? Has it ever happened to any of you before? Have you ever found yourself wanting to know what people are going to say, and maybe that is putting you in a situation where you are not setting boundaries. As I mentioned, that's happened to me. And when I found myself as a senior leader multiple times in my career, one of the reasons why I hesitated with setting boundaries is because I was not consistent with them to begin with. And what that means is, if I have a boundary, let's say if I need to leave work at a certain time, or if I need to manage my mental bandwidth for a project to make sure that I am doing what I can for the project, what happened to me is that I would just do as much as I could. I'd be so overgiving. I would just keep working. But then when I found myself at the place where I was about to be burnt out, I was trying to figure out, well, how am I going to set boundaries again? And a lot of it was because I cared too much about what people thought at that time in my life. And I'm sharing this with you because I don't want you to make that mistake. You have to take care of yourself. If there is something in your professional role, in your business, or in the position you're in that is completely stressing you out, then there's a boundary that needs to be set. There's some boundary that needs to be set. I don't know what that boundary is for you specifically. There's a couple boundaries we talked about in December. I'll highlight 5 of them for you to keep in mind, but there's your time boundary, your money boundary, your energy boundary, your professional boundary, and your personal boundary. If you're struggling at your workplace, there may be one of those boundaries specifically that you might need to work on. So let me know in the comments below what questions you have about setting boundaries. Now, if you like this information so far, you are more than welcome to subscribe to the channel. Take a few moments just to take a look at a couple of videos on my channel. The videos I share focus heavily on advanced communication strategies in terms of helping you to be able to communicate more confidently and concisely when you are in those very high stakes, highly visible, high pressure situations. And if you found yourself in any of those situations and you want to be able to think on your feet and respond in a very articulate way, then this by far is the absolute best channel for you to subscribe to on YouTube. Now, as I mentioned, I shared with you what I struggled with initially as it relates to setting boundaries. I just gave and gave and gave. And then when I was at the point where I was burnt out, I found myself, I had to reset those boundaries. So what questions do you all have? What boundaries in your life at right now, in your professional life, are you trying to set and you're struggling with setting? Put them in the comments below. Let's talk about it. Another issue that comes up a lot of times when people are setting boundaries is that they do not know what to say. How many of you have ever been in a situation where you know, I don't need to do this, I need to set a boundary, but you're just thinking, oh, I don't know what to say, I don't know when to say it, I don't know how to say it, all of that. Has it happened to you before? It's happened to me. And this is a common challenge that people experience when it comes to setting boundaries, because you may make that decision in your mind to say, yes, I need to set boundaries. I'm feeling burned out. This is not working for me. I need to set boundaries. But then what do you say? When do you say it? How do you say it? That's why you come to this channel, to learn some of those strategies. And if you're a woman in leadership, you're struggling with this, then contact me directly in the description below. And let's set up a strategy session to help you think about how to manage that. But many times we don't know what to say. And I'll give you just one insight to consider as you're contemplating, well, what should you say when you need to set the boundary? First, let's focus on the most important boundary that you need to set. What is it? Is it something with your time? Is it something with your energy? Is it something with a project? What is it? So determine what's the most important boundary you need to set, and let's develop a plan in terms of how you want to communicate that boundary. What I would recommend for you to do, if you have one boundary that's really important to you that you need to work on, is to think about who specifically it is that you need to speak with as it relates to this boundary. Who is it that you need to communicate with on this boundary? What do you need to say to them? How do you need to say it? And I always come to my conclusion of setting boundaries and having that conversation is by saying, how can I carve out time with this particular person I need to speak with specifically? And I would also map out in my mind what I want to say. Now, if you want to know a framework in terms of how to set those boundaries, let's go over that very quickly. The first thing you can do to set these boundaries is not only decide what it is specifically that big boundary is that you need to work on, but the second thing you need to do is think about how would you want someone to speak to you if they were struggling with something. Many times people, when they come into a conversation with someone and they need to set boundaries with them or talk to them about setting boundaries, we come to them at a place of fear. We're worried. We don't know what are they going to say? How are they going to say it? And that place of fear is a place I don't want you to operate from, especially as it relates to communication. Because if you mentally have some fear in your mind as it relates to setting boundaries, you will project that when you're having that conversation. And more than likely, that boundary that you're trying to set is not going to happen. Now, I will say there's several videos here. We talked about it for the entire month of December of 2025 about setting boundaries. That will help you if you are wanting to get more insight on this. Take a look at some of those videos. I have I believe it's a 4-part series on my recorded videos that talk specifically about boundaries. There is a wealth of information about boundaries here. And why I have it that way is because this is an under pressure situation. When you're trying to develop your skills under pressure, setting boundaries is a great place for you to start. So take a look at any of those videos. But as I was mentioning, think about how you want someone to speak to you if they were trying to set boundaries. Speak to them in a very polite way, a very collaborative way. How can we help each other? Maybe you're in a situation and you are a leader in a workplace or in your business, and maybe you're working with some of your partners and etc. And you know that you could do a lot more if you were able to adjust your schedule a bit. Now, if that's the case, then maybe the way you want to have a conversation with them, and I want to say hello to Drew Frederick. Hello, Drew. How you doing today? Welcome. But the way you want to structure the conversation is, I am really excited about the project we're working on. I believe there's an opportunity for me to enhance the project, but I need to make some adjustments as it relates to X or Y or Z. Whatever it is specifically that you need to do, that is a great way for you to lead into developing your boundaries and starting that conversation initially. I know it's hard and I know it's scary, but if you have questions as it relates to having that conversation about setting boundaries, then let me know in the comments below. I'm here to support you any way that I can. I truly believe that people become great by how they communicate. And my mission here on this earth is to help you communicate at a higher level. And I want to unlock that greatness within you so that when you have those very challenging situations that comes up as a leader, that you feel very empowered and you are equipped and ready to have those conversations when you're in those very high stakes, highly visible, under pressure type of situations where the room is watching and you're trying to figure out what to do. I hope this information gives you some insight. And if you are new to me, I typically go live several times a week, typically on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays in the morning and the afternoons. Fridays, I try to reserve for question and answers because I really want to be able to support you all any way that I can. And if you are a subscriber or someone that is considering subscribing to my channel, feel free to take a look at any of the videos on my channel that talk about anything related to advanced communication skills in terms of communicating under pressure. That would be your tone of voice, managing your emotions under pressure, your eye contact, your body language, controlling your facial expressions. All of those videos will help you have a very good foundation to get started as it relates to communicating at a higher level than your peers. If you have a question specifically, put them in the comments below on any video. I will answer your responses, and depending on how much depth is required, I may do a video just for you on that specific topic. I hope you all have an absolutely amazing day, a wonderful weekend, and I will see you later this afternoon when I go live. Bye for now.